Hey man, it's T. Here we are looking at your stuff here. Just got it all pulled down. Everything's looking good. Excellent. So let's just get you started with where you're at and kind of walk you through how everything's looking. Right now you have a positive 4 TSB, which is perfect. If you were, I had a couple of guys that are down, like he was down like -4, -5, and that's a little bit too much for this time of year. So that's good. And you can see your software assigned or your FTP is 314, which is really good. And so everything's looking good. This is a good week. This is the last 30 days here. So you can see here that we're getting some training stress scores of, there's one good one, 70, 59. So those are exactly right for this time of year. So the endurance, basically, so that was an hour and 9 minutes and 56. So that's rough. That's a little bit less than it's probably like 0.75 training stress points per day or per minute. So that's a good thing. All of these are great. If you were in the hundreds on any of these, I'd be a little bit concerned. Wouldn't want you up that high yet, just for the sake of your knee. Your body's regular fitness can handle it. It's just it's the rest of that stuff. So let's see what we have here. If we go here, we'll kind of take a look at. There was your recovery, your couple weeks off. So you can see you were kind of high up here to this at this point, and it took a few days before you fully got recovered, and then you just sort of. This is kind of back when you started. You can see that if I hide the other thing, only look at training stress per day, you can see this gradual climb up here. So that's good. This might be a little bit steep, but not too bad. And it might have something to do with that 1,000 watts that you had to near race and rest, but that's okay. All of that stuff's fine. Biggest thing is we want lots of recovery in between sets. So if we look at 20-minute peaks, we had a good one here on the 19th, and you can see here we had another good one here at the beginning of October, and that was kind of right before your time off. So you can see you're pretty darn close to where you were even before you left off. So with the weights and everything else, I think you should be feeling pretty good. Let's drag this up a little bit here, and let's look at last week. We're going all the way through the 23rd, so we have one day that we're missing in here, but that's okay. Again, everything's looking good. Your average heart rate, 137, all looking good there. If we go to your weekly cycling report and back it up over the last 30 days, you can see, of course, this week isn't going to be in here yet, so that's why it's showing up as 0. But you climbed 400. You had 58 training stress points. The first week back, 279. So this would be about the most I kind of want you to do. I might have you we're going to add in a sub LT workout on Wednesday just to start adding some very lot of recovery sort of bursts in between to basically just to work those higher end muscles, but then give them all the recovery they need. Again, here your 20-minute peak was pretty much at where it was prior to when you took the time off, so that's really good. Let's see what else we have here. We look at the time and zones. You can see that you still, over the last 30 days, you've got a little bit of anaerobic here, a little VO2 max, very, very little, and that's exactly what we want. We want most of it to be up here in endurance and in tempo. So, none of this stuff is earth-shattering, just based on the kind of workouts that we're doing this time of year, but it's all as equally as important. You can see if we look at, if I just stretch this up a little bit here for you, you can see most of your work is being done in the 85 to 90, actually to 80 to a little bit to 95 range, and you stay mostly in there, which is great. That's really good for your knee. As a matter of fact, trying to keep maybe over 85 cadence, something just to kind of remind yourself. If you just do some body checks when you're riding, just kind of watch your cadence, and even though it's 80 is great, 85 might be a little bit easier on your knee to just keep that stress out. And here your heart rate is fairly distributed through the through all of the zones. So thankfully we're not seeing a lot up in there. Don't need that. Not at this time of year. And yeah, speed doesn't really matter because a lot of that time is on the trainer. So speed doesn't really tell us a lot of stuff about what you're doing. If we look at weekly time and distance, actually, if I back this out to 90 days, you can see here that you were up pretty high here. But as far as just the time that you're putting in, you're pretty much prior to what you were in the off season, which is fine. I mean, it's just all good. It's just really making sure that we keep that intensity down for the next up, through the end of the off season. So. It's not necessarily time; it's just intensity. Guys like you and me, this is what we do. We ride bikes, and if you take us off the bike too long, we start going crazy. So it kind of meets both things. You're getting in the time that you want to feel, just to kind of feel refreshed and better, and not get all of those post-traumatic stress headaches and everything else that come with just being off the bike and not exercising. And we're doing what we can, but yet we're taking it very, very easy on your knee here. So that's good. So if we look at training stress and intensity, this is exactly what I want. Exactly. I don't want any of these. That one goes back to the end of July. So we don't want any of these high ones here. These are the training stress per day things that we want, right in the 70s. So very good there, man. Let's have a look at what the week looked like here. So if we start here on Wednesday, here on I guess Monday, I can probably let me bring that bottom thing up there real quick. It's fighting me. Okay, hold on. Let me pause this, and I'll get that bottom thing up. Now, for some reason, they ran an upgrade on my machine, my software today, so I'm gonna have to figure out why I can't see the splits in there. But either way, I can see them. I can see them up here. So just kind of a different way I'm used to looking at it is all. So let's see here. So let's see. Monday, good heart rate. There's a 110 line here. If we just track your heart rate, you can see you're not getting anything radical, but yes, your cadence is looking good. If I track along here, 83 RPM, looking good. In the 80s, so this was indoors, it looks like, everything good. So you're roughly about an hour there. Perfect. Loving that. Wednesday, Tuesday you took off. Here's Wednesday. Let's have a look here. Good set here at the beginning. You started out with a heart rate of roughly 110, brought it up over to 140. Remember, that's your sweet spot there, your 130 to 140 zone, so that's just what we're talking about. Good sets here. You can see that there's something. Okay, so there's your lap 4, and that had a good 229 average watts. The max of 305. Excellent. 6. Loving it. That looks good. Okay. Thursday, we go back to another hour here. And this looks like a nice long set here. 120 heart rate starting here. Look at your power, man. This is cool. So heart rate still staying well within the, if I track heart rate, you're tracking within 130s or whatever. And your power, you're doing those nice little pops every 5 minutes, it looks like. 40 to every 10 minutes, you're doing a little pop there. That's great. Doesn't hardly do anything to your heart rate. This is awesome. You're still like in total endurance. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, you can tell we really didn't. It doesn't look like you took much time off your bike at all. Your body's just snapped right back. And obviously, just because you can doesn't mean you should. We'll definitely keep you held back for a little bit here. Same thing. Okay, so Friday you had about an hour and 20. Good 1, 2, 3, 4 sets here. Let's see what we got for laps. Okay, lap 3. See if I can grab these. 4, 6, 7. Okay, so we had 236 laps for your first lap 3. Good. 250. This is right where we want it, man. Right where we want it. 251 and 1. Okay, good. So lap 7. Oops. I shouldn't have grabbed lap 7. I should grab lap 8. That's what we want. So 258. So good thing too is you're recovering down to 140, so you're not dropping all the way down and just spinning out like 20 watts or whatever. So you're kind of keeping the active recovery. Just notice again here you're spinning, which is great. Here's your Saturday. Let's have a look here. Saturday. I wonder if that was outdoors. If I could only have my map back so I could see that. So I'll have to figure out why they took that away from me. Zoom fit all. Okay. Well, I'll figure that out. But looks like an outdoor ride. Temperature 57. Let's see, 140 heart rate. Good shot here. There's 400 watts, so a little bit burst here, but you're bringing it back quick. If we look at just your power, you can see there that we're, you've got that good spike, and then you're bringing it back under 250 here. So all good. This is exactly what we need. Perfect off season. I'm dying to find that 1,000-watt ride. Wonder if it was Sunday. Peak. I don't see it. I wonder if you were recording it at the time. If we look at power, I see some 450 stuff, which is awesome. Yeah, this here is probably about as hard of a ride as you want to go. You've got some heart rate over 160. This would be your exception and not the rule for this time of year. And hopefully, here's a good break here. Hopefully, you're getting the recovery that you need in between your sets. Let's see, 20-minute power peak came here pretty early. I'd prefer a little bit more time warming up, but it's just sometimes it is what it is. Just for the sake of your knee, it looks like you had about 5 or 6 minutes of warm up there, unless that 10-minute thing there was you on the wind trainer. It probably was, so don't worry about that. Never mind. Let me take that back. So you warmed up in the wind on a trainer here, and then you had this right here. So all good, no worries. Usually, I just freak out a little bit if I see a 20-minute peak without a whole lot of warm up, because I know that's really hard on knees and joints and everything else too. So, okay, so everything is looking great. Let's go ahead and take a look at your calendar. Everything here should be pretty much the same. This will be your second week of weights. I forgot to do something. I want to repeat. I want another LSD here too, and let me just reformat that for you. About 80 minutes, and then the same thing here, another 70 minutes. If you and Russ want to go out and ride and do what you did one of these 2 days, like have some time where your heart rate's 160, totally fine, but just make sure you're getting that spin and make sure you're getting that recovery. So all of this is good. And I'm also adding back a sub-LTW1, but I want you to add 5 minutes recovery between all of these sets, okay? So that means ignore what it says on the thing as far as recovery on the sheet. Make sure that you're getting in 5 minutes recovery between all the sets. And that's really more than anything is just to make it more interesting, because I know that this spin and kind of stuff isn't exactly all that exciting. The other thing I'm doing, I need to make sure, if I forget to send this over to you, remind me. I'm trying to add in some stuff here for, I was thinking about this, like we also need to start defining percentage of time on the bike, on the TT bike, because I think that was kind of one of those things that kind of came up and bit us this season too, was the time on the bike, and then maybe we could even start adding in something like percentage of time outdoors or whatever. But I know that's really tricky, especially with the weather, being like it is for you guys out there. So we'll just think about that and see what you think, or like a target goal for time outdoors on the bike. But for right now, I'd like to have about 20 for this portion. I'd like to have about 20% of your time being time on the TT bike. So 1 out of every 5 rides, roughly, since we're doing basic, just endurance stuff or whatever. The other thing I was thinking about too when I was out on a ride, I want you to start finding a hand position on your handlebars and not moving it. And it's hard for I want to try to describe it without you showing you my hands. But find a position you can keep your hands in on the TT bike, but yet you don't have to move your hands around to shift. Okay, I was thinking about that as I was out on a ride a couple days ago. I want you to be able to subtly move your fingers and shift your bike without changing how the wind is coming up over your hands. That's a 1% kind of thing or whatever, but that's something fun to kind of work on. Find a position that you can block the wind with your hand, but yet maybe use your thumb to sneak in and use your shifters. I think you're on electronic shifting, which it makes it a little bit easier to just get over and turn the buttons one way or the other. But having your hand kind of blocking the wind and not moving around to change the weights, because anytime you change the weights, change your body position, because anytime you change your body position, basically the wind has to find a new way over you and start flowing again. So that's another thing that we can start working on is getting in a position and holding it, and that'll start with your hands. So other than that, I think you're doing awesome. Everything's looking good. I bet you're excited to be getting some stuff in here, and just remember to take it kind of easy on that sub LT, and aside for that, I think you're good to go. Thanks, buddy. We will talk to you later.